Hi. Among the three X titles released this week, this one is on top of my reading pile. It is NYX issue 2, written by the actual Hive Mind, Collin Kelly and Jackson Lanzing, and drawn by Francesco Mortarino. Full spoilers ahead, so you're forewarned. I mentioned it briefly last issue when I reviewed this book. Where are the senior X-Men? Why are they letting all the young mutants unhoused on the street and left to fend for themselves? Should they not be doing something? Hi, Future Tyler here. Exactly. I understand that this is about diaspora, the dispersion of people displaced from their homeland, but these are not people whom are helpless and without means. So I will not harp too much on this, as I think that the current mutant status is editorial mandated, and each writer had to work within this setting. Anyway, Wolverine is out on the streets tracking down people whom are, she assumed, kidnapping young mutants for nefarious reasons. Her inner monologue thinking of Keaton, one of the main characters from the original NYX mini, that was not expected, but appreciated. I almost forgot who Keaton was. I do have a question though. Where is Honey Badger? The last time we saw Laura was in Blood Hunt tie-in, and Gabby was clearly living with Laura. So what had changed since then? That Laura is living in a condemned brownstone in East Harlem. I hope we get an explanation eventually. I like what happens next. The Midnight M, the sign we saw Jubilee gave over in the free comic book day issue, was used here. And the club with the Krakoan sign and the speaking of Krakoan, I like all of that. Yeah, it took a while for me to translate, but no mistakes were made. They did not forget that TH is one symbol and Memo Max. He is the bouncer at the Danger Room, the bar where the mutant kids are brought to, and that's where Wolverine, calling herself Scratch, met Local, a mutant with an interesting power set. Yeah, it seems like he could access the local city electrical grid and controls everything on it. But come on, why would anyone not recognize that Laura is Wolverine? Is really beyond me. Especially when Laura like pops her claws out from her, from the back of her hand. Yeah, when Kamala went psst behind the couch, I initially thought it was Honey Badger, but well, it's just Kamala asking Laura for advice or help, only to be brushed off angrily, unreasonably so, one might add. Yeah, I mean, that was one part in this issue that makes me go, would Laura react that way to the younger mutants, especially one who fought for Krakoa's freedom during the fall of X and is a major part of the resistance? Plus, Sophie, as part of the Cuckoos, ain't exactly a weakling, right? She did not need to lecture Kamala about war. I mean, Kamala did live through and participated in the most recent mutant war, which I think the hive mind are aware of. I mean, you look at Kamala's expression as Laura stomp off, it says a lot. Nitpick time. Laura and Local jumped the gates in the subway, and the caption says the subway letting them in like old friends. Skipping fare ain't exactly subway letting them in. Unfortunately, skipping fare on public transportation is a major issue in New York City. So maybe that's why the subway station greeted them like old friends. Anyway, they get to ESU to steal something in cryogenic containment. The main thing I like here is the reference to her time with the Exterminators, and then further back with Keaton in NYX. And it turns out that Mr. Fran is Mojo, whom is working to use mutants to produce mutant growth hormones. Yeah, like what? Since when is Mojo a drug dealer? Maybe crime shows are hit back in Mojo world. Anyway, scary Mojo is always better than comical Mojo, and among his various appearances, this is one that I kind of like. The fight between Laura and Mojo is short-lived, as Laura was outmatched severely, and she realized that she needs to work with a team. And that is the part that misses the mark for me. Um, Laura had been on a team before, and it is even mentioned in this issue. So I think it would have landed better if she had not dismissed Kamala the way she did before. I'm thinking her intention might be protecting them, but it came off like wrong. The redesign of Laura's costume is actually quite cool here, with with like a sort of a crop top jacket and high collars. Apart from that, the fashion in these issues are also really good. I love the streetwear of all the characters, as well as the redesign of Mojo with more mechanical parts. I mean, he looks pretty menacing here. The out of costume attire that Laura wore is a reference to her first appearance in NYX. The fight with Mojo is gnarly visually, especially with the injuries on Laura. Yeah, that tear in her cheek exposing her teeth and jawbone. Yikes. And and her getting burnt almost down to the skull. Double X. Anyway, last issue, the environmental details here were excellent. I love the graffiti of like Professor X on the wall. Yeah, I also like the flare of the lights on the streets and in the club. And as the story took place entirely during nighttime, there were a lot of these stylized flares. The colors too looks amazing in this issue, rich tones, nice contrast, and not overly with like too much shading. So on the vacate sign in the condemned building, there is a signature on the dates line. People just sign without really looking. We have done that a couple of times in the past, signing on the wrong line. Um, by the way, if anyone wants to know what the Krakoan text says, the bar is called the Danger Room. Uh, Memomax said, respect this sacred land, which is I think the third law. Yeah, the third law of Krakoa. And then Wolverine said, whatever, man. So overall, this is still a very good issue, but I think it is not as good as the last one. So I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5, slightly lower than the last one. I agree. Despite some small missteps with Laura's reaction, the strong art keeps this at a 4 out of 5. So needless to say, it is a must buy. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. Tyler out.